Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Commissar here, and today I have a 1 vs 1 StarCraft commentary featuring Deathangel and Grubby. And today's game is, of course, game number 3 in this best of 3 series between Deathangel and Grubby. Okay, so we are going to see G, good luck, good have fun, good game, sir. Well-mannered start from these two players. And Deathangel, of course, everybody thinks he's a bit of a bad-mannered guy at the moment. Not because of his, bad-mannered actions on the ladder, more because of him posing as somebody else and having prize money won under a different name and profiting out of basically what seemed to be a bit of a scam sort of thing. Misleading the entire community, that sort of thing. That's why people don't like Deathangel. But Grubby, of course, everybody does like, and Deathangel didn't realize he was doing anything wrong, which is kind of baffling to me, but it's true. It's weird. But, meanwhile, we are going to see Deathangel on even terms with Grubby, and playing quite well. This match, of course, this best of 3 series from the round of 32 of DreamHack Valencia. There were initially 64 players. It's the second stage of group stages. As such, to get this far, you're doing pretty well, as you have to qualify, I believe. Then you have to win first or second spot in the second round of groups. In the first round of groups, rather. This is the second round of groups. So yeah, these two players pretty good. Basically, Romania's second best versus the Netherlands' best. And we'll have to wait and see what happens this game. It was Cheese one game, it was Macro the first game, and it is 1-1, and really, Mutas have been the build of choice by Deathangel both games. Mutas, of course, kind of slightly out of fashion lately. I mean, they're still fairly common, but most players have gone onto Infestors into Broodlords with Roach heavy plays. Ling Muta, of course, the style of choice of Deathangel, and I like that. Why do I like that? Simply because Grubby rather has probably prepared most of his time to deal with Infestor plays. Ling Muta plays he might be a little bit rusty on. His builds that he's using at the moment might be a little bit more oriented towards Infestor plays, dealing with Infestors, dealing with Roaches, dealing with big max out at 14-minute mark Roach plays. And oh, with a quick third base at the 3-minute mark, that is very quick, that's about as quick as it gets. We may indeed see an attempt at a quick max out this game of Deathangels. Meanwhile, of course, Grubby will not have trained as hard for Mutas, I assume, but having played StarCraft since its release, since perhaps beta, I'm not sure about beta or not for Grubby, but since then, he'll of course be very familiar with fighting against Mutalisks, and you'd assume he would have learnt so far to deal with the Mutalisks. Okay, so Grubby of course is going to have a cannon up at his front door, with a very odd style that I've seen. I've noticed that in general, Grubby doesn't actually like to go for a forge at the front. He doesn't like to wall this forge, and I feel like that would leave him vulnerable to early Ling plays, seeing as, for example, if Deathangel happened to go off 2 base at the start and make, say, 30 Lings at the very, very, very start of the game, he would be in a position whereby he would be able to run past this wall straight into the main of his opponent and kill so many probes it would be ridiculous. Whereas if the forge had been down here and the wall had been complete with this nexus, say ramp to nexus wall, Grubby would be super safe. Thus, I don't like Grubby's wall-ins at all, to be honest, personally. That's just me. He's a good player though, and I'm sure he knows what he's doing, so I'm sure it wouldn't lose him many games. Meanwhile, of course, Grubby did indeed scout out the third base. He does indeed see how quick it is. And taking a third base for himself, as you did see on the screen just a second ago. Grubby, of course, is going to try and keep up on the macro of his opponent. Why not try it? Well, there is a reason why not. That is because many times you will see a Protoss player try to keep up on macro of the Zerg player. The Zerg player makes a big swell of units. The Protoss player doesn't have the infrastructure because they get delayed so much by expanding that the infrastructure is slow. The end result is a faster max out, but the short-term result is that you can't really keep up on army. It is of course a viable option, as of course a Protoss player does have 2 options against a quick third base Zerg player. Option 1 is to try and keep up on macro, option 2 is to go for the 2 base players. Most players go for 2 base players, but of course this option is viable, and that's why it's acceptable from Grubby, and that's why Grubby is still going to be in a decent spot this game, should he hold on to this base. Okay, so meanwhile we do indeed see Deathangel having decent overlord positioning, moving out perhaps a little bit slowly, I feel, with the overlords. But nonetheless, they will indeed have one at this typical spot on the high ground. Going to see basically anything around this small area. Going to see any move outs. Going to perhaps scout a little bit later. Over here we do indeed see that he'll be able to scout the third and fourth base timings. The third base, of course, already done. He will see that in a moment. And of course, over here we do indeed see Lings moving out across the map for Deathangel. Deathangel has a small force of Lings at this stage. It's what? 10? They don't even have speed, so they shouldn't get this sentry if it force fields off the ramp, or even if it doesn't, it might survive. It appears it will survive regardless, and yes, it will. It will indeed survive. And it looks like the Lings will actually go down for the most part. So pretty good start there for Grubby. Gonna get a little bit of free kills. Gonna get a little bit ahead, although, yep, the cannon does cover the entire middle line. So it will be just fine for Grubby at this stage. Although one or two probes could perhaps be caught by these Lings if they do stay in position and know they're moving out of position before that probe does indeed come through. Okay, hiding most of the overlords up here is Deathangel. I kinda like to see a little bit more map control for him with the overlords, but this is okay too. It's in case of a Stargate play, in case of Phoenix is killing everything. It's safe, but at the same time it's in a way less safe as it sees less. It's a little bit of a toss-up, but most players do get a little bit more active than Deathangel with his overlords. Okay, so Grubby does indeed have, what, 6 sentries now on the field? Quite a lot for this edge of the game. If they all had full energy, that's already 4 force fields per sentry, that's already 24 force fields, more than enough for basically any attack. The question is, will Immortals be coming out to reinforce any moment now? Will there be any sort of big gateway swell? At the moment the answer is no. We do indeed see a Planet Council. Upgrades will be on the agenda for Grubby. He's already getting +2 before an army comes out. And he does have currently, I believe, a total of, how many gateways? 4? Yeah, 4 gateways. His hotkeys do indeed give that away. Meanwhile though, the big news is Deathangel is going up to a whopping 5 bases. 5 bases within the 10-minute mark is quite ridiculous. I've seen TSL Hyun do this before. It is quite hard to stop. The big problem I feel for Grubby is that by macroing up so hard himself, he could perhaps be unable to actually contain Deathangel now that he's macroing up hard. I mean, Grubby does have very little in terms of his production, but oh, the infrastructure is falling up to a whopping 7 gateways on the way, the Dark Shrine is on the way, the robotics is on the way. And as such, with the Hallucinating Phoenix seeing that there are 5 bases now, they have all been seen now by Grubby. Grubby is in a spot where he realizes, okay, I need to make something happen, and this is indeed the way to do it. We've heard of 2 base all-ins. 3 base doesn't really involve all-inning because you can sort of go into whatever you like of 3 bases. But this is indeed going to be pretty huge, as this number of warp gates is quite absurd. 11 warp gates plus Robo plus DT Shrine, and oh my god, so many mutas are here, and Grubby has so little in defense, it's quite ridiculous. We do indeed see Guardian Shield, very good against mutas, but all these sentries are all being sniped. Focus firing from Deathangel, very, very powerful tool, and these mutas should be able to escape before too many of them die. And yes, the Unisauce tab is going to show that Deathangel is way, way, way ahead at this stage. More mutas, though, are going to die here. That swing back the second time was a little bit bad, I'd say, for Deathangel. You know, the blink is now completed, so the Soul Count, if bolstered, could indeed build this quite nicely. Cannons, though, so many cannons at this base is quite absurd, really, how many cannons there are. You know, the roaches are going to be killed quite easily, as Deathangel just has so few roaches. Of course, Deathangel does have quite a nice muta count still after all of that, and that's what 5 bases does for you. At 5 bases, and what, now 89 harvesters, Deathangel's in a spot where his economy is so strong, all he wants to do is trade. All he wants to do is throw units at his opponent and trade, as he realizes, I have so much money. My opponent could never, ever keep up with me, as you can see on the income tab. Despite 70 harvesters, Grubby cannot keep up with the income of Deathangel. So Deathangel just wants to trade here, and oh my god, we are indeed seeing so many units swell in, but DTs are on the field. Well, the DT Shrines on the field, DTs are now on the field, moving out. But of course, Deathangel does indeed scout the Dark Shrine. The roaches are going to go down here to the Stalkers. Quite good for Grubby. He does have 2 attack upgrades versus the 0 of his opponent. And at this stage, Grubby needs all the advantages he can get. 20 mutas are on the way for Deathangel. And I do fear for him. Although these mutas could do quite a lot of damage. The spores is on the way down here, but at the moment it is not done. It will be denied by these DTs. These DTs couldn't even get this hatch. That would be huge, as going to 4 bases would even out this game quite a lot. A 4 base Zerg, of course, can be shut down by a 3 base Protoss, a 5 base less so. But what I'm going to say is that TSL Hyun has done a build where he basically goes super fast 5 base, then makes mass muta, nothing but mutas, and kills stalkers with it. Just charges straight into stalkers with mutas and says, I have so much more economy than you, I can just afford to do this and kill you. Meanwhile, of course, Grubby has quite a lot of stalkers, but the upgrades could be key here, as with his sword tech upgrades, a 3rd upgrade almost done, they'll do so much more damage here. And you do see the Nexus is going to go down here of Grubby. Oh, that is huge. Going to be into 2 bases against 5. Despite that, though, the Stalker is going to still be cost effective against these mutas due to their +3 attack versus +1 attack. 16 mutas, though, are on the way, and this is what I was talking about. This many mutas, we already have 29 on the field, 16 more on the way. With attack upgrades, with the bases still up for Deathangel, it's going to see Grubby struggle. He's going to struggle very much. And really, what can Grubby do now? He can't move out. If he moves out, mutas are in his base killing him. If he tries to stay back and defend all day, he's going to take damage, struggle to expand, and never get up to a good spot to attack with. So really the only option for Grubby is to try and build up a big army, survive, and move out with a maxed out army, 200 supply, and try to win the game from there. But even in that spot, Deathangel can either base trade, or even take on the army of Grubby, then build another army, reinforce, and effectively have a 300 supply army. So Grubby is going to try and hold on here, but every time he loses stalkers, it's good for Deathangel, as he's just trying to trade here. And it's basically pretty futile for Grubby at this stage. I mean, you look at him, he's got Guardian Shields up, he's got some defenses up, but he is struggling so much, and Deathangel's macro is just ridiculously high. Just ridiculously good, rather. And all the mutas are a bit cornered here. They are going to take a heavy beating from these stalkers. It is a pretty poor play there to actually get cornered like that. And oh my god, that might be the engagement that Grubby needs, as he is going to hurt the army of Deathangel quite significantly. Toss tab now does heavily favor Grubby, but despite that, 16 more meters are on the way. Deathangel still 200 of 200, still super high economy, still super high army. Keeping over 100 harvesters. That's okay, simply because you're constantly losing and remaking units. It's okay, unless you're taking on a 200 supply army of Grubby. Deathangel's not. So he has enough supply on his army, and oh my god, taking a 6th and 7th base out in the middle of the map here is Deathangel. And that is going to mean what? More than half the map is going to be mined out by Deathangel if he holds those bases. Meanwhile, Grubby will have a maximum of 5 bases all game long, so the availability of money in a long game is going to be in favor of Deathangel, as of course Grubby simply won't have the money to mine. He won't have the amount of money on the ground to get into an army. As such, Deathangel is so far ahead, and of course Grubby's still not maxing out. Grubby is indeed going into armor upgrades now, although the upgrade is getting less and less of an advantage for Grubby at this stage. This base is not going to go down either, as the mutas are already there. But any day now we will indeed see the 3rd attack upgrade on those mutas. They're already on 2. And the big thing is, a hive isn't done yet. I feel like that's a crucial mistake of Deathangel staying on lair for way too long. Look at his money. He can easily afford a hive. He can easily afford anything he likes, and oh, Storm's really good here, softening up this entire muta cloud, as we are going to see a couple more go down. But what I was trying to say is that really, for Deathangel, here's some hive tech, as mutas actually starting to be shut down here by Grubby here, and he can trade, yes, but at the moment he's trading so badly it doesn't matter, although there's a bit of good trading. He's going to kill a couple of Templar here, going to kill a couple of probes, and he is going to lose a ton of mutas, but look, he can max out instantaneously off his bank, so it's not a big deal here. You will notice that Newsflash tab, yep, 26 more mutas on the way, straight away, still many left over for Deathangel, so he can stay here all day, but he can take while doing this, and really it might be an APM issue, I don't know, because really 200 APM is enough to do this, but he's not taking up, he's not macroing up in terms of many upgrades. He has some upgrades on the way, yes, but this whole game Grubby's been ahead on upgrades. Grubby's been ahead on, yeah, he's been ahead on upgrades, but it's just been an economy game for Deathangel. Deathangel staying on lead tech all game long is a big mistake here, and I feel like he could suffer for it potentially. This is going to be shut down here. This DT is going to be shut down over here. He did indeed get one kill. This base hasn't really mined much at all. This base, though, has mined a lot of gas already. Meanwhile, of course, we do indeed see these Stalkers out of position here for Grubby. Oh, he's going to lose even more at this base. He's going to lose the cannons, first of all, I believe, before anything else. Which isn't the worst thing in the world to lose for Deathangel. The cannons do, of course, delay the mutas. But Grubby has been low on money all game long. Grubby is only on 3 bases, is starting to mine out here. And this Nexus is going to fall, actually. If it's focused, and yeah, it's going to be focused, it's going to fall. And the Blink not being used by Grubby there. He could have gotten in there a little bit earlier, could have killed a couple more mutas there. And even though he's killing muta after muta after muta, it doesn't matter. How long has Deathangel been maxed out for? Almost all game long. And all the probes are being decimated here of Grubby down to 49 versus 98. That's literally double the probes for Deathangel. And Grubby is probably wondering how this can be happening. He is ahead by 8,000 on units lost, but he is so far behind overall. The main base, of course, Grubby mining out, the natural mining out. The natural has to be rebuilt, and all banelings are going to be killed here, and the storm being used on the actual probes as well as the banelings hitting them. It's going to see the economy of Grubby shrink and shrink and shrink, and this is the great thing about Deathangel. He has stuffed up the teching, I will say that for sure. There's no way a hive should not be done at the 23-minute mark when you had 5 bases in the 10-minute mark. But, that said, he's doing a great job of his muta control, he's doing a great job of his trading, and the basic principle of expand, 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 and trade is working real for him. Trying to take Grubby's natural 4th is a bit ridiculous. That's not going to happen. But really, Grubby's moving out now, and that's going to cost him, because you can see a big fucking muta is going to swing in. And in reality, Deathangel can afford to lose the space. It means nothing to him other than something to be rebuilt in the space of a minute, because he has so much money, he doesn't need the income right now, he can just get it later. But Grubby needs everything he has at home, and he is losing everything he has at home to these mutas. Meanwhile, of course, Grubby is trying to pull back after taking out one base, having lost a base of his own, having lost probes of his own. And of course, Grubby can't rebuild the harvests as fast as his opponent can. Meanwhile, of course, we do indeed see the cannons being taken out, pylons being taken out. If more pylons are taken out, we could see a supply block to Grubby here. But yeah, again, the big thing is the money, and I'm really impressed by Grubby that he's been able to hold on for this long. But surely, after all of this, surely Deathangel is going to win here. I mean, surely. It's still 200 to low supply of Grubby. Still struggling to move out here is Grubby. And Bailing's rolling in here is kind of just Deathangel, I think, kind of having fun with it, trying to do, you know, whatever he can. Just whatever he feels like doing, he's just doing it because he can. But, oh, so many Bailings are going to enter the main here at this stage. It's going to be a nice storm. It's going to kill almost all of them, actually. So only a few pylons are going to die in the end of those Bailings, so that's kind of nice. But even in saying that, you have a supply block Grubby who can't even afford to rebuild enough pylons. Let alone Stalkers, let alone get it to later game units like Mothership to accompany these Archons. As an Archon turret could kill this, but it's not going to happen because there's never going to be a Mothership that gets to 200 energy without being killed, is what I think is going to happen. If it does happen, it's a big mistake by Deathangel, and Grubby could win the game. But at this stage, Grubby has not been able to do enough here. Units last tab just shows you Deathangel's brilliance by being 10,000, 11, 12,000 behind and being so far ahead. So I'm really impressed by Deathangel this game. We're going to see the space going to go down for sure. It has been mined a little bit though, and these two bases are bases that Grubby will never secure. Well, if he ever does secure, they're bases basically which are hard to secure. You have 5 bases on each side which are really easy to secure on Daybreak, and you have the 2 middle bases which whoever gets them can basically afford to trade. That's obviously been Deathangel this game. And meanwhile, I'm just kind of waiting for something big to happen, because really, when I say big to happen, there have been big battles all game long. Grubby's been trying desperately to kill this off. But when you let it get to 5 bases, he's pretty much unstoppable. And that's what we're seeing this game. That's all I can say. I mean, to be honest, there's still no actual base for Grubby. The main base is mined out. The 3rd base is not mining with a lack of probes. The 4th base is still being reconstructed. The 5th base is being constructed. And Deathangel actually tried to take this 5th base for himself with a drone already over there. Meanwhile, of course, the muta's doing more and more damage, and still, the hive has just started, still not even finished yet. At the 28-minute mark, a hive is not yet done. And that shows you how absurdly powerful mass mutas with infinite money can be. As that's basically what this game has been, and that is what we're seeing Grubby just die against. The 3 attack upgrade is now not done yet, but it's 2-2 mutas versus what? 3-1 stalkers? Attack upgrade obviously most important for stalkers, but I'm saying that the mutas is just basically wrecking havoc here. And I'm almost waiting for GG. I mean, to be honest, I've been waiting for something to happen all game long. It is really cool play to see from Deathangel. You can learn a lot from it. Basically, you can learn a lot from Grubby's perspective. Never let a Zerg do this. TCL of course, being the player who does this the most. And I'm just going to basically wait for something to happen here. As you can see, Grubby still scrambling, slowly dwindling. He's into 84 supply at this stage. Supply tabs do indeed show what? 13 workers to 87, 65 to 102 army. And this army, as we've seen, cannot even take on the army of Deathangel's head-on and win. Other tabs do indeed show. What do we have? We've got APM, of course. Well, that sucks for Grubby. He's had a high APM all game long, but so what? He hasn't been able to do anything with it other than try and survive. Because the big problem for Grubby, I'll put it this way. Normally for mutas, you can put, say, 8 stalkers in each base, a few cannons, and then with warpins and blink, you'll be safe. That's because normally mutaflocks do not contain a total of 39 mutas. They do not contain up to 50 mutalisks. Because really, 50 mutas is basically almost impossible to kill without AoE damage. And we do indeed have that effect damage out of the storms, out of the motherships of Vortex if it existed, out of Archons. But even with these High Templar getting all these kills, softening up this army, the number of mutas has not gone down this entire game basically, because they're just constantly reinforcing streams of them. The big thing for Deathangel to watch out for is his lava. We're going to see a big engagement over here though, we're going to see Stalkers go down, and yeah, this has been really inefficient for Deathangel. Even this last battle over here has been really inefficient for Deathangel, but it doesn't matter, as if Grubby tries to move out here, he's dead. Look at the reinforcements. We do have, what, more mutas coming in, we do have more lings coming in, the army, still 33 lings in the field. For Deathangel, 53 to 137 supply. This base is Deathangels? That's really rare. And yeah, we don't see Grubby trying to move out with something here, trying to kill a base, trying to do anything he can. But he has no money, and he seems to not even be able to contemplate the amount of money that his opponent does have this game. Big thing for Deathangel, he does have, perhaps his injects could have been a little better. He hasn't had queens at every base all game, which has been perhaps a bit of a mistake, as he really could have had more lava to max out again now. He can't max out right now because of lack of lava. Also his gas is a little low because he's starting to get mined out at his various bases around the map. So basically, Deathangel's starting to run dry. But look at the point of the game of Reach. By the time Deathangel has run dry, by the time this is starting to happen to Deathangel, by the time Deathangel's starting to fall apart, Grubby has already been broken. Grubby down to 6 harvesters, Grubby is down to 47 supply, 45 now, 43, the storm is killing stalkers now! And this mutaflock could probably turn around and kill the Scuba Stalkers, to be honest. And say 6 more reinforcing mutas is all that Deathangel can afford now. He can afford a lot of minerals, but basically out of gas now. That could probably win in the game at this stage, and he is long distance mining, he is starting to run out of his bank, which is really odd, because say, potentially if Grubby had lasted for a few minutes more, he might have been able to win the game. Off like 3 bases versus 5, 6, 7. But, even after all of this happening, it appears that Grubby is just going to lose a few units here, a few units there, until he doesn't exist anymore. And yep, his army's now cleaned up, and there is the GG out of Grubby. And that game was kind of dull. Why do I say dull? It wasn't dull in terms of Deathangel played brilliantly. Grubby was just fighting for his life the whole time. It was dull in terms of the fact that when you see someone have the entire map for themselves and another player being confined to 3 bases, you know who's gonna win. It's slow, Protosses can hold on for a long time. Unlike Terrans, their turtling can be, well, I don't know, they're weaker at turtling than Terrans, I suppose, but mass mutas are really good against basically every Protoss unit if marked correctly. I mean, they're not really good against every unit literally, but I mean Stalkers, they can kill mass mutas, mass Stalkers. The mutas might not always win, but it'll always be close. High Templar, you can potentially avoid dodge with your high movement speed. Archons, same thing goes, magic boxing exists too. Phoenixes, again, you could produce them one at a time, it's never going to be enough Phoenixes to kill off that many mutas. Rappers, of course, kill off those mutas. And at the end of this series, Deathangel has 1-2-1, and I feel like Deathangel could have done that a lot more cleanly. We did see a big problem in his play, being that he started to run out of gas, and I really guess he didn't foresee ever running out of money. That could have been avoided by, say, getting out the late game army at some point. With his hive, if he said the 20-minute mark had gotten his hive up, made a greater spy, gotten some broodlords out, he probably could have won then, and not had to worry about this issue. But in the end of the day, it didn't matter, he eventually broke Grubby anyway and won the game. But I'd say Deathangel could have done that better. Got the principles right though, killed off his opponent well, and that is a series in the favour of Deathangel. So if you like that series, please tell me. If you want me to improve, tell me. But don't tell me that I sucked out my concentration, because I am still suffering from a recovery from surgery. It's simple as that. My brain feels weird, and I kind of need a rest now. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on another day.